What's going on, guys, and welcome back to our survival multiplayer series here on the Surviving Java. And yeah, last episode we actually made some progress with our villagers. Now let me take you down there to show you the finished sort of product on them. Well, not finished product, because I still got a lot of work to do in the sort of cosmetic way, but other than that they're pretty much all unlocked and all... Oh, this is wrong. That's a different section I've cleared out for a future project, which little bit of a spoiler, but well, obviously not much of a spoiler. It's just a big empty space at the moment, which is going to end up being quite a few of them when I sort of plan to do stuff and I sort of line stuff up how I want it to be. But yeah, we've got all of our guys unlocked. We've had them all infected and then cured, so we've got all of our prices cheapened, so we can sell like one clay ball for an emerald. And then it's, well, I really wish that the amount that you got back went up when you cured them as well, because a 1-for-1 trade is a little bit of a chore. But I've unlocked all of our librarians and I've stocked up on all of the books. We've got a bunch of unbreakings. That one's just there as storage. Got a bunch of our mendings. And I think we've got a bunch of Ashes to Protection 4s. We've got Aqua Affinity, Looting 3s. Got some channeling, some silk touches, and I believe a ton of efficiency 5s. And then all of these guys I've just been trading with. So we've got a whole stack of block emeralds now where I've been trading like clay balls and just sort of smooth stone. And then there's one of our librarians which is like a proper cheaty librarian by the looks of it. Not you. Is it you? Yes, you could buy a bookcase for 1 emerald and sell a book for 1 emerald. So you could buy a bunch of bookcases, break them and sell the books for a profit. So yeah, all happy days here on the trading. Now my plan was to actually build something above each one of these, but I've decided that I want to work on a different project today, or at least get started on a different project today. And if you can tell by what's in my offhand, we have actually got a totem of undying, because I actually went and found an outpost and then triggered a raid over at max. Unfortunately, I've done all this off camera when we were just sort of messing about, and I was seeing how high you could get the what is it, Mark of the Omen or something like that, whatever it's called, when you kill one of the pillagers. But what we're going to do is we're actually going to head over to that outpost now. I've completely forgot I had to move my portal down here because I had to get 2 new villagers from where 2 of them had died, unfortunately. But that was my own fault. When I was trying to infect them with the zombie, for some reason, if the zombie doesn't have a weapon in his hand, because my first zombie got killed by an iron golem that spawned, so the iron golem that spawned I then tied up onto a fence post back there. And then the next one that spawned wouldn't pick up an item after I named him, and yeah, whenever he attacked a villager he just killed him instead of changing them. So then I killed him, found a zombie that did pick up items, gave him a diamond sword, and then didn't have any more issues. So just in case you're wondering how to infect the villagers, it's definitely helpful to have a weapon in their hand, because otherwise I think they are just going to kill them consistently. Before we head off, actually, let me just hop back into here, because what I want to do is going to involve quite a bit of digging. So I think bringing a beacon over. Have I got my... No, I have not, clearly. I want to grab my ender chest as well. Yes. So, oh, did I grab you? Yes, I did. It's my first slot. My tools are all messed up because I've been sort of breeding and killing cows just up there. Just bog standard one. Just like a little grass patch and bunch of cows and a little bit of wheat next to it just to breed them up. And that's just so I could get the leather to make the books in order to make the emeralds in order to buy the quartz. So it's a little bit of a lengthy system doing it all, but I'm quite happy that it's now all sort of in place and working. So we've got an outpost which is nearly 750 blocks away in the nether, so you can only believe how far away it is in the overworld. What does that work out as? Like 14, 28. It's like 5,600 blocks away in the overworld, that would be, if my maths is correct. Is that 7 times 8? How is it I'm messing up on that? 8, 16, 32, 64, 6,400 blocks? Yeah, well, whatever. It's very, very quick in the nether is what I'm trying to get at. But this one comes through on the top of the outpost. And then what I actually want to start working on is some form of a raid farm, and in order to do that we're going to have to probably clear quite a lot of this area. A lot of that is going to have to go. But luckily we've got this thing on the server called the Fabric Loader, which allows you to use certain client-side mods like the Schematica and all of that stuff. It's the same reason that I can use the minimap mod, but otherwise we could bring up this thing and we could bring up the shapes, and we've got a despawn sphere, so we can sort of get a visual representation of our spawning area around the player, just so we sort of know the rough area that sort of needs to be cleared to make it spawn proof. And then I do believe that I've managed to sort out the sort of bounding box for... oh, they're all coming for me. Can we toggle spawn chunks? That's not what I wanted. Is it this one? Yeah, I don't know how this one works. Oh my god, I don't want to go down there. There's so many of them down there. But there is a way of bringing up the bounding box somehow, so please bear with me because this is all very, very new to me. Ocean Stronghold. Looking for Pillager Outpost. Let's go reset. No, I did not want to do that. Can we set you to P? See if that works. Yeah, I don't know how this works actually. Not sure what it's meant to do, but either way, I know that they can spawn. I'm honestly not 100% sure on how far they're allowed to spawn away from the outpost, but they are spawning what looks like up to 64 blocks away, considering that this is 128 sort of diameter sphere all the way around. So what we could... I don't know how close you have to be for them in order to spawn. I know that you have to be pretty close in to prevent them from despawning, which means clearing the perimeter for the outpost is going to be a bit of a nightmare, especially considering that all of this is going to have to be cleared. And what I'm tempted to do is actually just take it down to a certain level, sort of get rid of all of the water, which is going to be a bit of a nightmare, and then just create some carpet bombers to actually create a perimeter all the way down to bedrock. Well, what I'm going to do, I'm going to set up my beacon, see if I can't figure out a way to get the bounding box of this up. Because if I can get the bounding box of the actual outpost up, then I can know exactly how far away they can spawn, which means I could just sort of torch up the rest of the areas rather than having to clear it. But yeah, I'm going to have a fiddle around down one way or another. We're either going to be clearing the area or starting clearing the area, because it's going, if I have to clear an entire perimeter, it's going to take a lot longer than what I want the episode recording to take. Yeah, so I'm going to get started. I'm going to whack down the beacon regardless down at bedrock underneath this thing, just so that I've got a... Actually, I may want to do section by section because it's not going to stretch all the way over here, is it? Yeah, it's going to be something that I figure out, but yeah, after I figure that out, I'll sort of bring you back once I know exactly what I'm doing. Alright then guys, so as you can probably tell, I've actually gone full board and just half slabbed the entire area. Now, I do believe they can spawn anywhere up to 36 blocks away from the centre of the tower, providing that there's no mini structures of the outpost. So if there was like a little campsite or one of the prison cells where they're holding the iron golems, then that would expand their spawning area. But if it's just the outpost like we've got here, then it is, I believe it's like 37 or 36 or something, very obscure amount of blocks away from the centre of the actual outpost. Now there are different mods and things like schematic things that you can get up to show the exact bounding box, but I just half slabbed going out in rings up to the point that they weren't spawning anymore. And we've managed to do it so we're not actually getting any spawn. And if I go into my statistics and I can show you the mobs, and let's see if we can't find our pillagers, phantoms with our pillager. So I've killed 478 of them while trying to half slab the area, and I do mean they were just non-stop spawning. So the plan is that first of all, we're just going to, rather than concentrating on trying to do a combined farm of some sort, because I may try to implement an automatic feature that will sort of trigger the raid once it gets up to the was it Mark of the Omen or Dark Omen or something like that, up to level 6. Because we only want to be triggering the harder raids because you get much better loot and a lot more emeralds from it. We didn't want it to be activating as soon as we got the Mark of the Omen, or I keep on forgetting what it's called. I think it is called Mark of the Omen or Dark Omen or something like that. Yeah, so what we want to do is actually get it up to 6 and then head to a different location. I'm gonna try to put it high up in the sky, the actual raid farm part of it, but we're just gonna concentrate on just getting the Mark of the Omen farm down here running. And what I was thinking is we could probably, what's our Y level here, about 80 plus what, 128, that would be what, about 210. That will be pushing it on our limit to go all the way up to ensure there's nothing possible to spawn down here. So I think we may actually go down a level or two. I say if we was down on this level to actually have our like kill chamber for the pillagers, but then we're sort of blocking off spawns because I don't think they can spawn anywhere within 24 blocks of the player. So all of this area directly near us would not be spawnable. Let's go up one level, do you reckon? You know, I'm just going to do it here. I like the top level, and what I'm thinking of doing is actually ripping up all of these half slabs up here and then taking out all of the wood and replacing the wood for lower half slabs, just so that we don't have to look at the janky sort of smooth stone half slabs. Although I don't mind the look of it. If you look on our little mini map in the top right, it doesn't look messy and it doesn't look wildly out of place unless you're actually looking at the terrain. But it was the only way to stop them from spawning, and I have actually managed to do that, which is a blessing, to be honest with you, because trying to deal with them non-stop firing their stupid crossbows at my face, it was just getting a little bit much, because I had to go repair my bow I think 2 or 3 times while trying to do this, and my armor was getting absolutely trashed, and then it got to the point every now and again that I'd have to fly away and unload them all and then re-enter the area just to sort of get rid of them, because they were like insanely over spawning more than anything. Like, it was just getting crazy. But our plan is, let's just rip up all of this wood, change all this wood for half slabs, just so up here is not spawnable and we have a decent working surface. And usually I would probably think about using a villager to lure them to the center, but I was noticing as they were spawning that they was all automatically sort of just running towards the center anyway. I think there's sort of like player tracking within a certain distance for the pillagers, so I don't think we need to worry about getting a villager for this section down here in order to lure them. So what we're going to be doing is creating 4 spawning pads in each cardinal direction. So you've got like the north, well, north is that way, west, south and east, and we're just going to have a spawning pad on the back end of each section, and then we're going to have a waterway probably funneling them down into a sort of kill chamber. So we'll take them up, drop them down the 20 blocks, and then they should only be a 1 hit with the sword. And as opposed for their drops, the pillagers don't actually drop anything overly fantastic, just a ton of the crossbows more than anything else. We are obviously getting their heads and whatnot, but yeah, it's just nothing amazing. For some, I've still not emptied this chest, which is from their loot from the actual outpost, which isn't fantastic either. So if we hop down here, and I've actually gone ahead, and what I've done is I've collected an entire shulker of sand, got it smelted up over at Stakes. He's got a super smelter on the go. Handy, don't worry, we will get round to building one ourselves. And I also spent around 3 hours harvesting dark oak because I wanted it to sort of match the theme in a sort of general manner. And I'd rather build it out as something I like looking at rather than just have janky stone bricks. And plus, I was testing it, and I wasn't able to get them to spawn on stone bricks. I was able to get them to spawn on wood, dirt, grass, sand, but stone bricks they just was not spawning on no matter how big I made the section. So stone bricks is sort of out of the equation for using as a spawning pad. So I thought dark oak and then dark oak planks in order for the spawning pads. We can use glass for the rim to prevent them from running off. And yeah, so what I'm going to do, I'll probably get the first pad in and just show you what it sort of looks like. And to be honest with you, I think it may be a good idea to try and get the sort of kill chamber in place, so that way when they do start spawning, I don't have to deal with them shooting my face. But as you can see, just by clearing the area, we've got a bunch of their heads, we've got an absolute ton of crossbows, and just a whole assortment of absolute garbage, to be honest with you, that we'll probably never use. But yeah, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to see if I could get the actual kill chamber in place up here, and we'll probably take it from there. Yeah, so I guess I'll catch you back in a bit. Okay, so I think I've pretty much got the kill chamber in place. So it's on this top level here. We've just got it with half slabs on either side of it, just so that way they shouldn't hopefully be able to shoot me through there, because it's only like a 1 block gap and it'll be in the middle of them. So I should just be able to see their legs. Fingers crossed, he says. Then I've got 2 of the soul elevators going up to the top that way. So if we just get an aerial view. I've tried to just use clear glass, but I don't know if I want to swap that out for the white glass, because the white glass looks a lot less blocky, it looks a lot more clearer. But if I do, that'll be something I'll do at another point, because I've already placed all the glass and I don't fancy tearing it all down to place again. I actually want to start making some decent progress on this. But we've got the 2 elevators, they both go up and they join into the middle here to a 1 drop kill chamber, which is just here. And we've got a couple of hoppers leading into just a couple of double chests. I'm not bothering with overly complicating the storage for this, because it's literally just going to be crossbows and the banners and their heads that they drop. And none of them I'm overly interested in, not until they add infinity to the crossbow enchants anyway. So our soul sand elevators come all the way up. Okay, yeah, as I was saying, so we've got the 2 soul sand elevators down here, and I thought I'd bring you back just to show you this, because the next part of me doing this is going to be extremely tedious, because I'm going to have to try to sort out waterways to all feed to these 2 elevators. And I'm thinking that the best way to do this is if I just honestly, I don't know the best way. If we sort of funnel them into this main section here, and then have a one-way strip, so they all get funneled into either side, so we can have if we do 3 platforms and see how 3 platforms do us, because building one at the back behind the elevators is going to be a bit of a nuisance trying to feed that in. So I'm going to see how I get on with just the 3 platforms. They're going to be rather large platforms anyway, and because they're just going to be sort of pathfinding over to the tower anyway, it's not going to be too much of a concern. I am going to have to replace this block, because that's now starting to bug me, and I've got no cobblestone on me. So yeah, I reckon if is what I wanted to say. If we have 3 platforms, one this side, one this side, one that side, waterways, funneling them down to the center, and then we can sort of just feed them into here. So yeah, I'm going to mess about with the waterways for quite a bit. Once I've got them in and I'm ready to start placing the platforms, then I'll definitely be bringing you back. But for now, I guess I'll catch you back in a bit. Alright, so I've fiddled around with the waterways, and I think I found a pretty elegant solution to it, and that is on the 3 cardinal directions. Obviously we weren't going to put one where the soul sand elevators were, so we've got one on each of the other 3 sides, and we've just got a little water tray on each side that leads to excuse me, leads to a central waterway system, which is just basically a 8 run in either direction. There are a couple of small flaws with this plan. One is when they spawn, we're going to be pretty much relying on their pathing mechanic in order to sort of beeline for the center of the outpost, because that's where I'm going to be, and hopefully that way they will actually run into the water streams themselves, otherwise we're going to be in a little bit of a pickle. But there's also another couple of things. One is that here there's a water source block, so if we get a pillager right here, he's unlikely to move. He may get budged along by another pillager, but that's just something we're going to have to live with. And then we also got the gap in between the waterway and where the elevator is. Unfortunately, there's not much that we can ever do with this. It's the same situation when we come up to our mob spawners, that you're always going to have that gap, and unless you have it drop onto a pressure plate with a piston that pushes them in the water elevator, there is no real elegant solution for it, unfortunately. But yeah, that's just going to be something that we're going to be counting on. So what we are going to want to do is start getting a few platforms. Now, because we've got the water tray coming out, we can actually have little platforms either side. The only thing is I don't want it too close to this corner, because I don't want them beelining it over here and just standing here waiting for me. I actually want them to pathfind to here. So what I'm going to try to do first is what I think I'm going for, is have a platform just coming off of the end of each of the trays, and hopefully that can sort of work, but it's something that we're just going to have to play around with and try to figure out as we go. So yep, that'll do. And with these platforms we can take them out pretty far, because they're pathfinding. I did notice they were pathfinding me from pretty far away. And we're just going to be using dark oak wood. If we do something like this, and all of this is going to be spawning area, and once we're up there in the middle, hopefully they will sort of beeline for it. I'm saying hopefully a lot, because honestly this is something I really should have tested out in like a creative world, but yeah, I'm not really that sort of player all that often. Sometimes I just prefer to wing it and see how things work out. Then we just keep on going a little bit. Say, how far is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Say 15 in it. Should be a nice round number. So that's going to be 14. And then we're going to have 15. And then we could probably branch this out a little bit in that direction, maybe a little bit that direction, and bring it out sort of like a wedge of pizza, or a Trivial Pursuit piece, like a piece of cake. But yeah, I think that should hopefully do the trick. And then let's get a piece of glass there, and then we can use some logs for decoration going around the edge. And then we can have glass on top of the logs, so that way they can't sort of pathfind out onto the half slabs. It's going to be the hopes, but we're just going to have to see how it all sort of plays out, to be honest with you. Can we break you? We don't need to break you. And then we'll go up to the top and see if we get any spawns, but unfortunately, I say unfortunately, it's good for the server, but unfortunately for me trying to test this out at the moment, there's a few of us on, so obviously I don't know how the Pillager spawning rules sort of apply to how many people are actually currently on. But yeah, I'm just gonna wrap this around. This is our spawning platform, and great. I need some more glass, so let's get up there. Grab some more glass. Probably gonna have to go and smelt some more, to be honest with you. I know that there's a way of getting out through here. Here we go. Okay. And we're going to want to sleep away tonight, because I'm fairly sure hostile mobs actually do play a part in the overall mob cap. And it's really dependent on how many mobs these guys all have loaded as well. Like, I can see on my minimap that there's a cavern underneath this direction. So we've got a bunch of mobs under there already. So preventing spawns up top is probably going to be ideal for us, but let's just go and sleep this night away, and let's see if we manage to get any spawns on that platform. Ladder. So this is going to be where we are. We keep an eye on the minimap to see if any spawn, but what I'm going to do is I'll keep the footage recording, and I'll carry on building the platforms on these other ones, and if we get any spawn I'll bring you back. Alright, so it's actually been a while now. It's now I think 2 days later since I last done that bit of recording, and you can probably tell the amount of changes that have happened here. Firstly, the platforms have changed. They've changed shape, they've changed in material, they've changed in size. Yeah. We are actually getting a bunch of the pillagers now spawning quite regularly, and all happy days. Now, the reason that there's such a big jump cut between what you last saw and seeing this is that if I was to include every jump cut that I've made, the video would be like 50-60 minutes long, because oh my god, have I run into issues building this thing. Initially I thought, like, I tested the wood platforms and I was getting the occasional spawns, but then the spawns would just stop completely and I'd be getting nothing spawning. And then I changed the size of the platforms and still getting no spawns. I was getting like one very rarely or occasionally. And then I chose, well, maybe it's getting like failed spawns trying to spawn where the half slabs are. So removed all of the half slabs, dug down all the terrain below the actual river level, so then there was no blocks within the bounding box besides the platforms, and still I was only getting 1 or 2 spawns occasionally. But as you can see now, the issue is that the pillagers can only spawn, I believe, is on grass blocks or sand blocks. The spawns that we were getting on the platforms, I do believe, is due to the pack spawning mechanics. Is that where it was attempting to spawn on a grass block just outside or just underneath where the half slabs were, it was getting a failed spawn on there, but the rest of the pack spawn was actually managing to spawn on a wooden platform. That's the only thing that I could see or try to think as to why it was doing that. But nevertheless, we changed up all of the platforms to grass now, and that was a night. Oh, if I can fly. No, why is it not letting me? Oh, because I've not got my things on. Oh, that could have been very, very bad. I've not even got my armor on. I've been trying to repair my axe. Oh my god. Yeah, so the platform now encompasses like pretty much half of the sort of bounding area for the actual outpost, and as you can tell, we are actually getting quite a lot of spawns. For some reason, it's like when you fly around it, there's like no limit as to how many can spawn, because it is just insanely over spawning now. Ouch. Okay. All of these guys now keep on firing. And all of these guys should now come rushing in. Yeah, so it's nuts they're spawning. So like when you fly around, it just seems to spawn tons of them in. And I did go round in all the caves and light up all the caves after I wasn't getting any spawns. But as you can tell, we're not doing too bad for spawns now. I've gone through numerous shovels, numerous picks, a couple of axes. And yeah, it's just taken a long time, but we're probably going to leave this project here for today, because there is something I actually wanted to... Shut up, guys. There is something I wanted to start doing over at our base place, just in preparation for probably the next episode. I actually want to work on there a little bit. Obviously, we are going to sort of incorporate this into some form of a raid farm, but for now, we're just going to leave it as just like a dark... Is it Dark Omen? Bad Omen. I keep on saying Dark Omen. I'm just going to leave it as the Bad Omen farm. And then what I'm planning on doing is hopefully try to build a raid farm directly above it, like 120 odd blocks above. But that's just my hopes for it at the moment. There is a guy stuck in the corner there, and I don't know why that is. Is it just because he's fighting the current? What is he doing? Shut up, guys. You know what? I'm going to put the rest of my armor back on, just because it's very dangerous. What is going on here? Oh, that's a kink in the armor, innit? We do that. Yeah, that's really weird. I've not had one of them get stuck there before. Rare occurrence, I do hope. But I was timing it, and the amount of guys with banners that spawn, it's taking roughly around about anywhere between 5 and 15 minutes for enough banner guys to spawn in order to get me to the Bad Omen 6. Obviously, I've not been triggering raids to get rid of it, but I've been counting the amount of banner guys that have been spawning that I've been killing in a certain amount of time. And they do tend to spawn quite regularly, but it's weird how their spawning mechanics work, because I'll have moments where you'll just get absolutely tons spawn, and then I'll have a 5 or 10 minute period where I won't get many spawn, and I think it might be due to the light. So, oh, don't be shooting me, guys. No, I can't even sleep. Ouch. 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 Okay, well, I'm definitely gonna have to sort that out, aren't I? Okay, they've gone from there. Can I get to sleep now, please? Please? Thank you. I've got an arrow in my foot. It's not exactly the most comfortable place to have an arrow. Yeah, because I think it's got something to do with grass blocks and then light level on the grass blocks, or it could be a case of when it gets dark, hostile mobs spawning around the area is probably limiting them. But like you see, we do now get occasional spawns, and there's another banner guy spawning. But yeah, I'm quite happy with the way it's turned out. I've got a lot of tidying up to do. I'm quite happy that I've managed to keep the overall structure of the outpost. I didn't want to have to go tearing that down. And the platform I've tried to make symmetrical. There's one corner was slightly bigger than the other. I think that corner is slightly bigger, so I'm going to have to expand that corner a bit. But it's nuts. Just look, with me flying around, you just get so many more spawn. So if you wanted to rush this bit along, you could just sort of fly back and forth over this platform. It's crazy. But yeah, I'm quite happy with it. So what we're going to do is we're going to head over to our base. I need to go get... Oh my god, I've got all the little head markers coming in on the minimap. I'm going to head over to my base. I'm going to try my best to get rid of this bad Omen effect before I get there, because I don't want the raid happening there, although I don't think there's much places for them to spawn over there. But you know what we'll do is that we'll go to our nether portal and we will see if and where the raid would spawn if we were to do it. Okay, we're back over here at our portal, and before I forget, I forgot to mention it when I was over there at the outpost, is that Mac actually helped me tremendously when it came to figuring out. He actually copied the world over into a creative world, and he went through the process with me of testing out different things, deleting pretty much most of the world around the outpost and then setting up platforms to see why they weren't spawning and what on the conditions they were spawning. And literally it was just one of the last things it was testing, because we were just running out of ideas. It's like, well, what about the blocks that they're on? And I'm fairly sure that if I just check the wiki, it probably says it on there that what blocks they can spawn on. But after laying down the wood and them spawning and me seeing them spawn on the wood, I just automatically assumed that that wouldn't have been an issue. But I think it's just their sort of pack spawning mechanic that allowed them to spawn on the wood. So yeah, cheers for that, Mac. Okay, so raid is starting. As to where it's going to be is anyone's guess. If it can't spawn, then it will just have like a failed spawn. I'm fairly sure that was a... what should I call it? Yeah, see, it's just a failed spawn because there's not enough land or anything for them to spawn on, which I'm perfectly fine with. This episode is now going to be running, well, stupid dolphins, running along a bit. But the thing is that I wanted to show you what I have. Oh my god, can I please get rid of this dolphins, Grace? Thank you. So, what I was going to show you is this room here. I've actually dug out a fairly decently sized room over here, and what I'm going to be doing is moving. I'm probably going to have to expand this a little bit more, to be honest with you. I'm going to be having this as like a storage room, my main sort of storage room, and I've got all the kelp growing in here just so I could create all the water source blocks. But you know what, all of this can be broken now, just so that you can get an idea of the exact sort of size we're going for. Because obviously I want all the chests to be flooded or waterlogged, shall I say. Come on, I'm breaking this. I'm fairly sure one of the dolphins swam in here. Because it's just going after the floating items. Yep, there he is. Come on. How many entities are we looking at? We're looking at about 600. Yeah, it's fine. I think it's only me on at the moment anyway, so having too many entities isn't going to lag out the server. I know that when I had the kelp growing into the main sort of circle that we got out there, when I was breaking it, it was causing massive lag spikes for the rest of the server. But doing very short amounts of kelp, like in here, it's not going to be an issue because they're not floating everywhere and they're not sort of cramming everywhere. They sort of just stack up, don't they, up there? Can I just break you guys? Yeah, so what I'm thinking is, because I want to obviously future-proof it and get ready to make sure we've got enough storage for all of the new blocks as well. So we're probably going to have, I don't know whether or not to do the 2 new wood types within a wood section, or should I have them over in a new sort of nether section. Because obviously a bunch of new blocks, which means a bunch of new half slabs and materials and all the goodness. Okay, oh, got some drown coming in. Oh my god, dolphins, will you go away? I'm very tempted of just getting them and penning them up somewhere, just where I would want the actual boost, rather than them just boosting me whenever I go past them. Kelp, just so I don't lose you, you go in there for a second. So what I'm thinking, because obviously we're going to want an automated storage, and I'm going to want enough room for all of the items, I'm fairly sure, because we're going to need what? How many colours are there? Oh, for God's sake, dolphins. I think there's like 16 colours. Is it 16? Or is it 12 or 14? I don't know, but we're obviously going to want a section for all the coloured stuff. So coloured clay, coloured concrete, coloured glass, coloured glazed terracotta, and coloured wool. And then, so that's going to probably take up a large section. Then we're going to want a wood section, and then we're going to want a stone section, and then we're going to want probably like a nether quartz area, probably a couple of chests dedicated to them. But what it's going to be is going to be an absolute ton of chests, and we're also going to want some deep storage, which I've got plans for a redstone sort of deep storage system using shulker boxes, and I'm quite happy. I've sort of designed it already, and I'm fairly happy with it the way it works, because it's a lot of storage for a very small amount of space using the shulkers. So I'm very excited to get on. That's because he can't go up for air anywhere, isn't it? Oh, never mind, dolphin. So yeah, I'm probably going to have deep storage. I'm probably definitely going to have to knock this back by a good few more blocks, just so that we've got enough room for storage. And I'm reckoning from about this point here, so we can have our deep storage section over here, and then from this point here, wrapping all the way around to this point here, we can have our main storage and push that wall back a bit. But I just want to get all of the chests and whatnot in place in between this episode and the next, because I want to move to the storage room or storage system we've got in place at the moment from up there down here. And the whole moving of it is a extremely boring and tedious process, which is just unrecordable, because watching me go back and forth and placing items into chests and getting them all sorted. And we're going to be using a version of Tango Tech's auto sorting system. I'm going to make a few adjustments for cosmetic purposes only, and besides that, I think that should be pretty good. But we probably won't be working on the actual sorting system for probably a good few more episodes. I'm very short on redstone, to be honest with you, so I'm going to have to go mining for some more of that. But next episode, I'm fairly sure that I want to actually start on some cosmetic bits around here on the base. I know that you're probably excited or waiting for me to get round to finishing off sort of raid section of our Bad Omen farm, but yes, I don't want to just bulldoze one project after the other. I'm quite happy to leave that sit there for a couple of episodes while I want to get some cosmetic pieces done. And I think the first things that I really want to get done is the sort of towers that I want to build for each of the conduits. So it means hopping into a sort of creative world and trying to mock up something that I actually want to fit around that circle, because obviously I'm going to want it to come in high enough and out of the water. I keep on forgetting my T's. Very, very English of me. Yeah, but hopefully you've enjoyed today's episode. Hopefully it's not been a little bit too jump cutty. I know that it has been, because the sort of progress updates regarding the Outpost, everything was very large and repetitive, so it's not sort of minorly recordable like when you're doing little redstone projects, and I can show you little systems and how they work and whatnot. But hopefully, either way, let me move back out of that little waypoint. Hopefully you've enjoyed today's episode, and hopefully I'll catch you all in the next one. Bye bye.